In part 1, we talked about how to make money with the 5 economic engines that generate gold value throughout TFT game. And if you understood the lecture correctly, you should now know how to become rich. But unfortunately, being good at making money doesn't mean you're good at economy, because that's only half of the equation. Today we're talking about the second half of TFT economy, the balances. Let's begin. Luckily, this one is much simpler, because despite how complicated TFT can feel, there are actually only 3 things you can directly spend gold on. You can buy units, you can rerun the shop, and you can buy experience. That's it. You are X or us. Every time gold leaves your bank, it goes into one of these 3 categories. Swift Wisdom tells it, where does my gold come from? Rust tells it, where the hell did my money go? Because not every Rust is spent behave the same way, there are 2 different ways your gold can be converted into value. I call them sure value and unsure value. Let's start with the first one. Suppose you get 4 gold buying experience. What happens? You get 4 XP. Regardless of whether leveling was the correct decision, the conversion itself is guaranteed. Your gold becomes XP. Same thing when you buy a unit. When you spend 4 gold on a 4 cost champion, you own the champion. Gold became an asset. That's what I mean by sure value. U and X mostly work in this way, but R is a different story. When you rerun the shop, what exactly are you buying? 5 champions? No. An upgrade? No. Boss strength? Definitely not. You're buying 5 new options. Maybe those 5 options are exactly what you need. Maybe the shop gives you 5 other units you absolutely do not want. Either way, your 2 gold is just gone completely. You get no asset in return. That is what I mean by unsure. Gold spent on all does not guarantee usable value. You're just paying an opportunity to find one. Understanding this mechanism gives us the first principle of reducing expenses. Be extremely careful when spending gold on unsure value. Or to make it even simpler, the less or the better. Now, some of you might think, wait, if all is bad, does that mean we should only spend gold on UNX and Fast 10 every single game? Well, if TFT only had 1 player, honestly, yes, that sounds pretty reasonable to me. Unfortunately, there are 7 opponents in the lobby, and the game theory shit doesn't allow us to peacefully build our retirement fund until level 10. The point of this thesis is not never R. The point is to highlight the fact that you need to R with better awareness. Okay, now you may wonder, how exactly do we use every shop more efficiently? That's a complicated subject. That's probably where we start entering the upper challenger or even professional player territory. We're not going that deep today. For now, I just want all of us to understand the general mechanism. Because once we understand Rust, there are 2 more ways we can reduce our expenses. The second one is be a smarter beggar, and the third one is don't put yourself into debt. Let's start with the beginning. There are 3 major resources Riot gives us for free: champions from loot, 2 XP per round, and free shops. Let's start with champions. Suppose you get a 3 cost in the early game from the blue off. Sure, you can cash it out for 3 gold, but if that unit strengthens your board and helps you win rounds, it can generate additional income through the W and WS. So the economic value of that unit is 3 gold plus the potential income from the W plus the potential income from the WS. And if we did a little bit deeper, we may realize that unit even contain the gold value from the R too. A unit always worth more than its sale price. That's why it can augment that keep champion always offer less raw gold than augment that simply hand you gold directly. See unit's value only by its sale value is short-sighted. Just Don't do that. Next is experience. Every round the game gives you 2 XP. To utilize it fully, pay attention to your leveling breakpoints. It is usually the Bond 2, Bond 5, and Bond 7 rounds of each stage. Just don't throw unnecessary gold into the axe. And finally, free shops. This is probably the most underestimated free resource in the game in low elo. Every round gives you a fresh shop, 5 units for free, and I think a lot of low elo players look at this shop the wrong way. Let's say you're playing a fat A com. Your plan is simple. Reach level A, then start rolling. So everything before level A feels irrelevant, but that's completely wrong. Every natural shop is a free refresh, something that would normally cost you 2 gold to create manually. So even if you're not ready to commit to your final boss, you should still be looking for ways to extract value from those shops. Till round 4.2, which is over 13 rounds, if you're barely using those shops while your opponent are actively improving the boss with them, you're playing the game 26 gold down compared to your opponents. That's more than the value of a gold augment. So please use your free shop more wisely. And now that you understand the whole expense system, the free shop should suddenly look a lot more attractive, right? That's what I mean by be a smarter beggar. Now let's get to the third idea, and this one will change the entire way we look at expenses. Up until now, our framework has been very simple. Gold leaves your bank, it enters you or our X, done. But here's the problem. Not every expense in TFT is paid in gold. Sometimes the price is hidden somewhere else. The most important example for this is HP. HP is money, and I don't mean HP is an important resource. Everybody already knows that. I mean HP can actually be converted into gold value. Let's look at an example. Imagine 2 players. Stage 2 and player A plays a mid-streak. He wins 3-5 and loses 2. Player B plays a full 5 loss streak. In this scenario, not only player B has the LS income, he also can reserve interest more easily by not holding many units on the bench. Totally, player B ends up around 8 or 9 gold richer than player A. Sounds good? But player B also lost, let's say, around 20 more HP. Now let's move to the endgame. That 20 HP might be worth 2 lives, and if player A gets to survive 2 more rounds because of that AP, those rounds generate gold. At minimum, he receives 10 gold worth of round income. I already exclude I and W, the free shops, and the opportunity to gain access to the BV loot, and that modest 10 gold is already more than the 9 gold player B earned earlier. Player B simply got more value in the present by sacrificing tons of value in the future. And this is why I think there is a much better way to think about the I and the LS income. It is borrowed money. Unless you have a better plan for the value created by your loot streak, just don't take the loan. Now that we fully covered the mechanism of the expenses, let's get back to something I told you in part 1. Remember how I divided Wisdom into 2 categories, Temple Gold and Econ Gold? At that time, I described Econ Gold like a savings account, low risk, low return. Well, that was a lie. Econ Gold only low risk when you exclude the expenses. Once expenses enter the equation, the picture reverses. It actually becomes high risk, low return. Having been stuck at every rank, in my experience, expenses are the part of TFT economy that truly separates players, not the income. Wisdom isn't that hard to understand, but understanding expenses, understanding what your decisions really cost, actually finding ways to reduce those costs, that much harder. Most of the time, the best economic decision you can make is to stop relying on bad econ engines. That said, if it takes more than 20 minutes just to explain the theory, then it may look simple, but it is definitely not that easy to apply. After all, the game is not just about managing your economy. We also need to think about choosing augments, deciding which comp to play, itemization, positioning, and so on. To create room for improvement in all of these areas, we will first need a simple, solid foundational play style. So in part 3, the final episode of the Econ series, we're going to talk about the philosophy behind the 3 combat augments playstyle. The playstyle helped more than 15 of my students break out of Emerald for good.